On the day of my 13th successful IVF attempt, my husband's friend helped me have a hysterectomy. Nathan himself put me in jail, and he accidentally fell down the stairs to save me, resulting in his own lifelong disability. To be able to heal him, I was out almost every day doing takeout and working 4 jobs on the side, and for 8 years I took care of him. So busy that I almost wore myself out. It wasn't until I saw my hairdresser thanking Nathan on TV that I understood it all. She said that if he hadn't provided me with the materials I needed for my experiments and spent all the money in my family to support me, I couldn't have gotten to where I am today, and that I was really grateful for his selfless help. Nathan was so excited to hear this that he stood up straight away and kissed against the TV. As long as it's what you want, I'm willing to do anything, even if it means giving up myself for you. Originally, the child I worked so hard to raise was nothing more than a sacrifice he made for his friends. And the suffering I had gone through in the past 8 years was entirely just to consume my resentment towards his friends. At that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of despair. Seeing his engrossed look, the caregiver next to him couldn't help but advise him, "Mr. Nathan, over the past 8 years, Mrs. Nathan has run to all the doctors for your leg, decocting and massaging it day and night, which is very difficult even for me as a caregiver, not to mention her as a small woman with a weak body. Since you've decided to spend the rest of your life with her, why don't you be honest with her? At least make her heart feel better." Upon hearing this, the tenderness in the man's eyes instantly turned cold, not to mention just a child or a womb. Even if she gave all the organs in her body to Emily to use, that would still be a blessing for her, if it wasn't for her dwelling on this small matter for so many years. How could Emily have stayed abroad for so long? What's there to sympathize with when what she's doing now is just to make up for a mistake? And you're just the one I hired to play Olivia's understudy. Gotta remember your role and don't forget your part, Nathan says, as he takes a wad of dollars out of his pocket and throws it right at the escort. The caregiver bent down to pick up the stuff, sighed and said, "Mrs. Nathan would be very sad if she knew that I'm the one who stays at home with you every time. Doesn't she always say she loves me? Then I'll take a look at Emily from afar should make me happy. She should be happy for me." Seeing that he was still so insistent, the caretaker shook her head and left. He then quietly dialed the phone and said in a lowered voice, "John, please call another 5 million for me. She's on a famous TV program. It's worth celebrating." The voice on the other side of the phone was a bit helpless. "Not that I'm talking about you, Nathan. Didn't you just give that Emily 10 million? Why are you doing it again? What you've given her over the years could exceed the annual revenue of a major corporation several times over. I saw my sister-in-law on her knees shining shoes for people on the street. And a few days ago, she was eager to help me pay back the money. So I really can't bear to lie to her anymore." He did not listen to the words that followed, and felt dizzy and a cramp in his stomach. I then realized that in order to take orders, I had not eaten for a day and a night. Leaning against the wall, I slowly reached down and pulled a small piece of chocolate out of my pocket. It was one that Nathan had bought for me specifically 7 days ago. "Olivia, I'm sorry. If I hadn't dragged you down, you wouldn't be working so hard. This is your favorite chocolate. Come and try it." I still remember that time I was so moved that I couldn't stop my tears, and happily took a small bite. I couldn't eat the rest of the chocolate and secretly hid it. I thought to myself that I could skip the steamed buns in the morning and lick a bite of chocolate when I was really hungry. It is good to get a little help from a small place, whether it is to see a doctor or to pay off a debt. It is considered a kind of support. But now, those things that seemed so good have actually turned out to be hurtful poisons. The people I love have been cheating on me with lies for 8 years. Instead of being punished as they should have been, the people I hated were called benevolent healers. I was filled with anticipation and loss. It was truly the biggest joke of my life. As a result, the chocolate fell to the floor by accident. I couldn't hold on any longer and fell heavily. As my consciousness blurred, I saw the wheels pressing over, and the dusty chocolate instantly turned into a puddle of mud. A man's panicked shouts came to my ears. "Olivia, wake up quickly. What would I do if anything went wrong with you?" At this moment, however, I feel that dying might be a relief for me. Opening my eyes again, I realized that I was in a hospital. I tried to sit up but was pressed back down. "Olivia, have I ever told you to eat and sleep on time? No matter how tired you are, Look at you, your stomach is perforated and you're still busy running takeout. Didn't I tell you not to think about giving me massages? Didn't Sarah learn it? If I hadn't caught it early, you'd be, she said in a series of words, not giving me a chance to speak. I used to think it was his love for me. But now, I realized that he actually just felt that I was delaying his chance to meet his favorite person. Seeing that I didn't respond as usual, he frowned and reached out to touch my forehead, confirming that I was fine before letting out a sigh of relief. Listen to me, just stay here today and don't go anywhere else. He tenderly placed a pillow on my waist, picked up the porridge on one side, scooped a spoonful, then blew on it, and carefully brought it to my mouth. I know you like to eat dried radish, but this time the doctor repeatedly advised that you can only eat liquid food. Endure for a while. When you are well, I will buy you a can so that you can eat enough. I looked up at him, my dark eyes were still full of deep love. But now it no longer made my heart flutter. Before, I was nibbling on dried radishes at every meal to save money and to get him to eat more meat, even though I was sick to my stomach from vomiting. I still smiled and told him that I liked the taste. He said it was not nutritious not to eat meat, but he never gave me a piece of meat, surprisingly. I never suspected. When he saw me froze, the man took the porridge in his mouth and fed it to me. The warm and smooth congee slid in my mouth, and the aroma was so fragrant that it was easy to get lost in it. But I felt a wave of revulsion and couldn't help but push the bowl of congee away with force, rushing straight to the trash can to vomit. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have made you feel sick. A wide palm slowly moved down my spine, but I couldn't help but avoid it. He noticed my reaction and was about to speak when he suddenly saw his cell phone vibrating. Startled, he forced himself to say it was a nuisance call and let the phone continue to blink. Only the fingers that kept stroking showed how nervous he was at that moment. Unfortunately, that string of unnamed numbers has been deeply embedded in my heart. It was Emily's. Is this a nuisance call? Just in time for me to teach him a lesson, so he won't dare to call again in the future. I was just about to pick up my cell phone when he blocked it. I didn't realize that the back of my hand touched the fruit knife next to me, cutting the skin and bleeding a little. Nathan scrambled to bring iodine to help me treat the wound. The stinging pain traveled from my fingers all over my body, making me almost unable to breathe. He probably didn't even realize that he had taken the wrong alcohol. The Band-Aid was applied a little crookedly and got on the outside of the wound. I didn't want to see him so distracted, so I said I was tired and wanted to go to bed. He subconsciously agreed yes, but his tone lightened considerably once he realized he was a bit out of sorts. What I'm trying to say is that you get some rest and I'll always be by your side to keep you company. Every now and then, he glanced at his cell phone with his afterglow. A hint of disappointment on his face when he saw that he hadn't heard anything. I felt so bad inside when I saw this. I turned around and snored softly. He purposely pushed me a bit and called me close to my ear to confirm that I was really asleep, and only then carefully dialed the phone. As a result, a woman's crying voice came from the other end of the phone. Nathan, you must help me this time. Don't cry. It's okay as long as it's about you. I'm willing to fight for my life. The man hurriedly stood up from his wheelchair and rushed out like the wind, even forgetting his jacket. I stood up again and retreated the wound. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a silver-gray flash drive in my coat pocket that stood out. I plugged it into the tablet in a flash. Thousands of wedding photos were on display. Yet my face had long since been processed to look like Emily's. No wonder he insisted on taking wedding photos in the first place, despite the injuries on my face. He held my hand tightly, his eyes filled with emotion. Olivia, in my heart, no matter what you become, you will always be the most beautiful bride in my heart. Just because he said that, I held on all day and all night in the sun, had a high fever in the middle of the night, and it almost killed me because of the infection in my wounds. I wasn't afraid to die, but I was afraid of the pain. I'll always remember the pain that was so unbearable. It turned out that in his heart, I didn't matter at all, because the only love in his heart was always Emily. I didn't want to keep watching anymore and stood up, wanting to leave. Around the corner, I saw Nathan kissing Emily passionately. He said, "Whatever you want, I'll get it for you." And inside I felt like I couldn't take it, that it was really enough. I backed away silently but accidentally rolled down the stairs. Blood ran down the corner of my eye, and I could see Nathan's figure in my blurred vision. That's worrying? Break her legs and she won't be in the way so much from now on. Nathan called out to me a couple of times and I didn't even open my eyes. What did you guys do to her? I let her get hurt, not lose her life. It's been 3 days and 3 nights that have passed. Why won't she wake up? The growling voice rang in my ears, but it made me feel no pain. Because Olivia, who loved him in my heart, had long since left the year she loved him. Mr. Nathan, there is nothing wrong with the patient's body. The reason she doesn't wake up is because she doesn't want to wake up herself. Do you guys think I'm stupid? Olivia would risk her life for me. How could she not want to wake up? All of you are incompetent doctors. Get out of here. The sound of footsteps around us faded away. Nathan held my hand and pressed it against his face. Olivia, will you wake up soon? I really don't want to lose you. Warm tears dripped onto the back of my hand. And my heart tightened. I subconsciously tried to pull my hand back, but his grip increased. If you don't wake up, who's going to help Emily fulfill her wish? I won't allow you to do that without my consent. Strong fingers tightened their grip on my neck, and it felt like I was about to suffocate. I gripped the side of the bed as hard as I could, thinking to myself that even if I had to die, I would never let him get away with this. A bell rang, breaking the silence. Nathan picked up the phone with some annoyance. Mr. Nathan, the columbarium needs to be rebuilt. Please talk to Mrs. Nathan and ask her to move her parents' urns as soon as possible. Otherwise, there's no point in bothering. Just get rid of them. At that moment, I couldn't hold back any longer and suddenly opened my eyes. Nathan was so startled by me that the phone in his hand fell to the ground. And the staff on the other end of the line was asking, Mr. Nathan, have you really decided to give up? Cough, cough, you heard me wrong. I mean, you have to keep it safe. I'll go do the paperwork right away. He reacted quickly, but there was still a hard-to-conceal embarrassment in his eyes. I simply chose to ignore it and tried my hardest to take care of things myself. But I ended up accidentally falling to the ground. Seeing my leg wrapped in a cast, I crawled forward regardless. Olivia, come on, stop it. You're going to get hurt. The man in the wheelchair was so distraught that he wanted to rush over and pull me away immediately. But I knew there was nothing he could do to stop me. The moment my fingers touched the door of the room, I felt a ray of light. I was so happy to be near you, but I was suddenly blocked by a dark shadow. Olivia, it's been a long time. How have you been? Looking at the face that I wanted to tear apart in my dreams, I couldn't help myself. I rushed forward with open arms. As a result, with a thud, I fell heavily to the ground. Olivia, don't move. Be careful not to break any bones. Emily rushed over to help, only to be pushed away by me. Don't pretend to be here. At that moment, the intern behind me also jumped out and expressed her dissatisfaction. Hey, why are you so ungrateful? Our director purposely put down the important work at hand to come and see you. It's your honor. Why are you still treating people like this? I sneered and said casually. She, a criminal, doesn't reflect in prison, but actually runs out to endanger others. And you guys still hold her in such high esteem. It's really helpless. The intern's face changed when she heard that, and she was about to argue with me. But Emily pulled her back. Olivia, I know you've always been upset about what happened back then, but the situation was so urgent that there was really no other way. She said, while handing me a bunch of information. The information contained some forged medical records, an acquittal certificate from the police station, and even a mediation letter signed by Nathan himself as a family member. It was then that I realized why he had brought the staff to register our marriage back when I was lying in a hospital bed, unable to move. He said he wanted to take care of me fairly for the rest of my life. I didn't realize that all was superficial. I looked to Nathan with questioning eyes, hoping for an explanation. Snapping out of his wheelchair, he immediately knelt down in front of me. Olivia, I was so wrong. It was all my fault. But Emily really wasn't wrong. If you have any complaints, just come at me. Don't give her a hard time. I looked at him with a smile that brought tears to my eyes. Nathan, let's separate? I trudged forward, ignoring everyone. A sigh of relief rang out all around. After the rewrite, I really haven't seen such an ungrateful person. The director even donated blood for her. I should have known that I shouldn't have helped her. That's it, totally sad, hopeless. I pretended not to hear until my cell phone lit up. Urn 0828 has been successfully relocated. And I stare at the screen in disbelief, feeling an extra surge of strength in my arms. Olivia, no matter what you think of me, you're still a patient in my eyes. And in a hospital, you have to listen to the doctors. Emily pulled me onto the stretcher with all her might, but whispered to me as she passed, if you don't want your mom and dad to be unable to rest in peace. You'd better listen, Emily, tell me, where are my parents' urns? Where is it? I stormed up and grabbed her tightly by the neck. Anger swelled in my heart. But I felt no fear. She had hurt me once, and I didn't want my parents to have no peace on the other side either. Panicked voices mingled with the sounds of tugging and pulling as I firmly maintained my original position. Not wanting to let go in the slightest, Emily pretended to be scared, but was yelling for everyone not to get hurt. Suddenly, there was a stabbing pain in my neck, and I lost my ability to resist all of a sudden. The moment I fell, Emily stepped in front of me. She's just having a depressive episode, it's okay, don't hurt her. Turning my head, her smile didn't reach her eyes. Olivia, 8 years ago, I had the power to make you lose your womb, and 8 years later, I can still put you at risk. I suggest you stay well, or I will make you experience pain. I tried to say something but found myself completely speechless. That's when Nathan came up to me, not leaving me any attention at all, his eyes all over Emily. Emily, are you okay? Are there any injuries? I apologize for Olivia, don't take it personally. It's okay, I know it's not her fault, it's all due to the disease. Don't worry, I'll treat her well. Seeing the way they looked at each other, I really wanted to know what was going on in their minds. Back in the hospital room, Nathan heartily cleaned the scrapes on my body. Olivia, I'm sorry. I know I made you suffer today, but please believe me, my feelings for you are clean and I will never leave you. It's hilarious that he's still acting with me even now. It's a pity that Olivia doesn't believe in this anymore now, seeing that I didn't react in any way. He mistakenly thought that I had softened my heart, so he took out a peace talisman from his pocket and hung it around my neck. Olivia, this is something I purposely had someone go to the Jiuhua temple to beg for. It can keep me safe. Just now, I saw the interns that Emily brought with her. Everyone was wearing the exact same peace talisman, and only Emily had the Buddha beads from the Jiuhua temple on her wrist. It was only then that I realized that I, like everyone else, wasn't much of an important character in his eyes. Facing his tentative gaze, I calmed down a little in my heart. All right, I can let go of what happened before, but I need to know where my parents' ashes are. Nathan's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise, making it difficult. Seeing that he wasn't willing to tell me, I picked up a small knife and aimed it at my neck. He panicked at once and hurriedly dialed a phone. During the long wait, my hand never relaxed until I saw the urn. The knife cut my skin because my shoulder was trembling, and blood seeped out all at once. But I couldn't think about it and hugged the box tightly. I suddenly realized he had only brought me one. Before I could ask, he had already told me why. Don't worry, Olivia. I'll give you Dad's urn back if you'll cooperate with Emily in this experiment. Okay, I promise. The sudden change in my attitude took him by surprise, and the look of surprise on his face was only momentary. He immediately went to tell Emily the good news excitedly. Completely unaware of my clenched fists. I won't let them get what they want this time, no matter what. Absolutely not. Despite knowing that Emily probably wouldn't be nice to me, the reality was worse than I thought. I was given dozens of hormone pills all at once and ended up with a rash all over my body overnight, and to make matters worse it was swollen, itchy, and painful. It felt like a million ants were biting my bones. I banged my head against the wall as hard as I could, which resulted in ridicule from the interns. Wasn't it you who wanted to be the subject of the experiment? You can't stand a little pain like that. She's really overdoing it. He thought I was too noisy. So he tied me up and gagged me with a cloth. The rough iron rod cut through the clothes on my back because of my struggles, and instantly there was a sticky feeling. Blood slowly dripped onto the floor, and I felt a chill come over me from head to toe. I weakly looked towards the corner of the room, involuntary tears blurring my vision. I'm sorry, Mom. I may not be able to reunite you and Dad. I'll apologize when I get down there. The door to the room opened and light suddenly shone in. Someone lifted Emily's chin with the toe of their shoe and let out a scornful scoff. She asks, Olivia, what have you gotten yourself into, by the way? Where did the loving man next to you go? She purposely glanced around the room and then pretended to be concerned as she gave me a call to Nathan. Nathan. Olivia is allergic to the medicine and is bleeding a lot. What should I do? There was a noise on the other end of the line, then a man was shouting, Emily. Don't be ridiculous, Olivia will be fine with you. I am buying your favorite cinnamon cake for you on my side. I have been busy for 4 hours. Wait a little longer. I will send it over right away. Emily had a satisfied smile on her face, but when she saw me, she raised her chin in mock embarrassment. Olivia, you are really not as good as you want to be. It's a shame that you haven't been able to impress that man after spending 8 years. As far as I'm concerned, he's nothing more than a dog. Why don't you try begging me? Maybe I'll be in a good mood and help you out a bit, but not necessarily, oh? Provocative eyes glanced back and forth at my face. I signaled her to come over. She pulled the gauze out of my mouth herself. Come on, learn some barks for me. I spit in her face in anger. The woman was so angry that she raised her hand to hit me, but the moment she was about to drop it, her expression changed. She wiped the dirt off her face and called for an assistant. Tomorrow she will be given a transplant. The assistant was very shocked when she saw it and couldn't help but say, but artificial uterus transplantation is still in the experimental stage now. And the success rate of animal experiments is only 1. Would it really be too hasty to give it to someone now? Emily didn't wait for her to finish and glared at her with a provocative look. The donor this time is very special. I've been tracking her profile for 8 years, and all the indicators are almost perfect. I've been preparing for so long. Do you want me to give up on my previous endeavors? Besides, in the first place, I helped her with the surgery and cut out a uterus. Now I'm helping her by giving it back to her. The aide was choked up for a moment, unable to speak. Just as Emily walked to the door, she couldn't help but say to me, "Mtkes Olivia, the mortality rate of that surgery is 100%. Why don't you go and beg the director? There might be another way," I responded, Lily. "If you want the same result as her, I don't mind doing another surgery." The assistant immediately shut up in fear at that. As I watched them drift away, I felt nothing but helplessness in my heart. The door opened again, and Nathan walked over with a bowl of cinnamon cake. "Olivia, it's been hard on you here. This is the cinnamon cake I bought especially for you. Come and try it." Looking at the cinnamon cake with a bite taken out of it, I looked up at him and said, "Nathan, can you feed me again?" Nathan froze for a moment, then pretended to be happy and picked up a piece of pastry, ready to feed me. Just as it was about to touch the edge of my mouth, I asked him, "Nathan, would you be sad if I died?" The cinnamon pastry fell to the floor. "Don't be ridiculous." "Olivia, I still want to grow old with you, trust me. I'll never let anything happen to you this time." This time I felt a hint of sincerity in his eyes. Unfortunately, a changed man is worthless to me. I don't believe him, don't trust at all. I still didn't get to eat that cinnamon cake. He was shouted away by Emily. To spur me on, Emily actually sent me a video of Nathan on his knees washing and pinching her feet. However, I deleted it straight away and pulled the plug on her. Tomorrow, it would all be over. The next day, I lay quietly on the surgery bed. Nathan had been waiting at the door to the operating room for a long time, holding a large bouquet of flowers, a smile on his face when he saw me. "Olivia, I'm here for you, waiting for you to come out unscathed." Out of the corner of my eye, I glanced at the card in the flowers, which clearly had Emily's name written on it. Good luck to Director Emily. If it weren't for me, his wife, I think I would have been impressed by his deep affection. I grabbed his hand and struggled to pull a piece of paper out of my pocket. "If anything happens to me, please take care of my parents' ashes for me." Nathan froze and put his finger over my mouth. "Don't say anything negative. I'm sure you'll be fine." The warmth in her eyes was real. Emily, who arrived late, coughed softly, and Nathan hastily let go of his hand, somewhat awkwardly walking up to say hello, only to be teased. "This is not the place for you to show your love. If you have something to say, hurry up and say it. Don't delay the surgery. Everyone can't afford this." "No more, no more, already finished?" He didn't even fully unfold the document, he just signed his name at the end. Too bad he didn't realize it was my divorce papers. I was testing to see if he still had an ounce of heart for me. Sadly, his behavior reconfirmed my suspicions. He put the paper back in my pocket, and then reached out to wipe the tears from the corners of my eyes. "Olivia, don't cry, don't worry. You and I are married for life." I closed my eyes and turned my head away. If I could, I wish I had never seen him. The anesthetic was injected into my body, and my stomach was cut open. I screamed out in pain, but Emily didn't seem to hear me and continued her movements. "Mtkes Olivia, I understand that you don't want to do this surgery, but this is about the fertility of thousands of women. So please don't hesitate, okay?" Large beads of sweat broke out on her forehead, and her face turned pale. The assistant noticed that something was wrong and gently warned, Director, is there a problem with the anesthetic? Emily didn't care and continued the surgery, and the other doctors didn't dare to interrupt. At that moment, the cardiac monitor suddenly sounded a shrill alarm. Oh no, the patient's blood pressure has dropped, and the oxygen level is only 87? This is not good. The surgery can't continue. The assistant couldn't stand it and walked up to try to stop it, but was pushed to the ground by Emily. Lily, do you realize the repercussions of just interrupting a surgery? Do what you need to do? Just then, blood suddenly gushed out and sprayed onto her face. My entire body was shaking. Emily froze for a moment, realizing the situation was bad. And that's when she reluctantly let me administer the adrenaline. Olivia, don't say I didn't help you. It's up to you. And just then, a large group of people rushed in. Flashbulbs of all kinds are shooting wildly at Emily. Director Emily, we just received the news that back then, you intentionally removed a normal person's uterus for personal reasons and aborted the child that the other person had begged so hard for. Is this true? I heard that you are with someone who has a family, and there are a lot of pictures of you on the internet. How do you respond to this? Emily was taken aback by this sudden interview. Guided by someone else, she panicked and opened her cell phone. She saw that the internet was full of attacks on her. Some people said that what a messenger. She was a murderer, and that this kind of person should be in jail. This person was such a disappointment. The expression on Emily's face changed dramatically, while I was almost on the verge of losing consciousness on the operating table. The assistant was about to speak but was interrupted by Emily. Lily, you take care of this matter. Since people don't trust me, I have to get things straight before I say anything. But director, this is a project that you're personally in charge of. I don't have the ability to do this. Lily, don't say that. You're the key person in this whole program. And I've taught you all the surgical procedures. You have to take the responsibility as a medical staff. After saying that, she heavily patted her assistant's shoulder and then hurriedly left. The other doctors saw that the chief surgeon had already left, and everyone chose not to do it. The assistant pleaded bitterly, but no one was willing to stay. Lily, this task was given to you by the director, so let's leave it to you alone. As soon as the door to the room closed, Lily's expression immediately changed. He quickly took out the injection he had prepared long ago and injected me with it. Emtikes Olivia, do you believe me? I believe, if I didn't, I wouldn't have given her my life. The moment we locked eyes, I felt a ray of hope. After the surgery, I was wheeled out of the operating room and saw Nathan. He was crying in front of everyone. I'm sorry, this is all my wife's fault. Please forgive her depression and the distress it has caused Director Emily, and I'm here to apologize for Olivia. But the paparazzi didn't let him go. Instead, they started to ask him questions. I heard that back then, your wife wanted to insist on filing a complaint, and it was you who signed the mediation letter in her place. Does Mrs. Olivia know about this? Also, I heard that over the years you have quietly donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Emily's research program while making your own wife work hard. Is this what you call love? The questioning left Nathan speechless for a moment. The packed crowd once again handed Emily the microphone. She couldn't react in time and stepped back. Just then, Nathan rose from his wheelchair and caught her steadily. There is a lot of chatter around the room. Nathan. So, Mr. Nathan, all those years of pretending to be so weak were actually for Emily. It's not what you think. I've just recently recovered. I just haven't gotten around to telling everyone yet. Nathan explains in a bit of a panic, but a look of disbelief shows on everyone's face. Just then, out of the blue, a man shouted, "Make way." Nathan saw me being wheeled out and immediately ran over to me, full of excitement. Olivia, it's great. It's such a relief that your surgery was finally a success. Emily, who was next to me, had a surprised look on her face and obviously couldn't believe this. This surgery has never worked before. There must be something wrong with it. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean someone else can. Emily, if you hadn't insisted on using banned drugs, how could you have caused so many people to lose their fertility? Lily strides over, holding Emily's evidence in her hand. As soon as Emily saw the information, her face immediately changed and her body trembled slightly, but she tried to calm herself down. This must be a forgery. It's definitely not true, Lily. You're the one taking kickbacks and commissions. Don't try to wrong me, Director Emily. When did I ever say that? Are you exposing yourself? Lily sneered and took out her cell phone and played a video. The video showed the inside story of Emily's private dealings with others. Don't worry, I'll sell all these expired and smuggled drugs to those who can't get pregnant. They can't have children anymore anyway. It's kind of like I'm doing something good for them. Besides, it's a waste to keep so much money with no one to inherit it. Emily's face turned sour and she sat down feeling powerless. Nathan, however, was not willing and grabbed my wrist, whispering threats. Olivia, you don't want mom and dad to be restless underground. Do you? If that's what you want, I'll support you. I look him in the eye, my tone calm. He was so excited that he hurriedly pushed me in front of people. No one else's word counts, only the person in question. I ignored his expectant eyes and struggled to pull out the divorce papers. I am now officially announcing that, as of today, Nathan and I are divorced, and that I will hold Emily legally responsible for what she did to me. Olivia, what are you talking about? Are you not feeling well? Come on, take your medicine. Nathan pulls out the medicine he brought with him and tries to give it to me. But Lily stops him. Olivia's health is fine. There's no depression at all. It's you guys who really have the problem. It was Emily who falsified her medical records, deliberately set her up, and switched her medication for a hallucinogen. Nathan dropped the pills in his hand to the floor, covering his ears and shaking his head desperately. No, it's not true. Nothing is true. He ran to Emily in a panic, wanting to know the truth. I told you before, I didn't want her to die or suffer. You obviously promised me. Why did you do this to her? Emily slapped him angrily with anger in her eyes. Nathan, you're useless. You can't even look after a woman, and now you're here yelling at me. You're just useless. She should have died 8 years ago. If it wasn't for you desperately protecting her, how could she have survived until now? I can't stand it when people go against me. The slap was crisp and loud. Nathan's hand slapped the woman's face, and blood began to ooze from the corner of her mouth. Emily's eyes widened in surprise. And then she charged and bit. Nathan, that was infuriating. I should have known. I should have made you take the poison so you would understand the consequences. The flashers kept going, and the live feed didn't stop. Lily covered my eyes and urged me to leave. It's too dirty, he said. Don't look. I refused her hand. I'd waited 8 years for this opportunity, and I wanted to remember it well. Remember the embarrassment of those who treated me badly? Today, the hot search soared, and the topic caught everyone's attention. The famous gynecologist turned out to be a problematic figure. An old case from 8 years ago resurfaces, and the escaped criminal will finally be tried. Emily has fallen from the highs of everyone's admiration to the lows. Even inflicting countless more punishments on her couldn't counteract the pain I've experienced these past 8 years. This time, however, I finally let her fall. The women who had been victimized before gathered at the hospital, and it was so crowded that it was difficult to enter. They were furious and demanded that the perpetrators be severely punished. I spent all my savings to be able to have a baby, and then I met a scammer. So I beg you to give me my money back. It was heartbreaking. After spending so much money, not only did I not get pregnant, but I also got cancer. At the hospital at a loss. I decided to come forward and tell my story. 8 years ago, I had my uterus cut out by Emily, and today she was trying to do the same thing to me, and I felt like a victim. Luckily, I met Dr. Lily, who performed an artificial uterus transplant and gave me hope for life again. There were a lot of people at the bottom, but no one believed me. One man even picked up a stone and tried to throw it at me, saying, "You are all in cahoots, it's all a scam. Don't try to cheat us out of our money." The rocks flew at me, and I subconsciously reached out to block them. At that moment, Nathan rushed over and protected me underneath. "Olivia, are you okay?" Not caring about his concerned gaze, I push him away and take a step back. "Nathan, you should know that this is not something I would appreciate." "Olivia, I understand that there's no point in saying anything now, but it wasn't until you almost had an accident on the operating table that I realized that the person I love is you." "Olivia, I'm sorry." His voice was getting lower and lower. He fell when he was pushed. A lot of blood flowed from the back of his head. The person who threw the rock immediately cried in fear, stating that he didn't mean to do it. The security guards who heard the noise and rushed over took the man away, and the paramedics took Nathan away. The originally noisy crowd finally quieted down. At this point, Lily stood tall and patted her chest to assure everyone. Actually, I was Emily's victim, just like everyone else. She plagiarized my thesis and stole my technical data, wanting to monopolize everything. Today, I finally had the chance to expose her true colors. Emtikes Olivia was also very brave and willing to take the risk of doing the surgery with me. And the fact that our surgery was successful is the best proof of that. I can't fully guarantee that I can cure everyone, but I will do my best to help you with my skills. At this point, some people in the audience finally began to waver and said they wanted to be treated for free for a few months to see what the results would be. Lily wrote down a promise in front of everyone, promising to meet their expectations. There was a huge round of applause. At that moment, the police car arrived, and Emily was taken out the side door. Some in the crowd noticed immediately and rushed over. Come and help, come and help." Seeing Emily fall to the ground covered in blood and moaning, I suddenly remembered myself from 8 years ago. Unfortunately, no one would show me any sympathy now. Even the police looked at me with contempt. Emily was dragged away like a dog that had lost its vigor. I smiled weakly and said easily, "Emily, I wish you a long and safe stay in prison in the future. I'm sorry. I can't fulfill that request. Olivia, I really want you dead." "Really want you dead." She has a very scary look on her face, like she's going to pounce, but she can't move at all because she's chained to her arms and legs. A look of despair finally appeared on her face. I stood aside and watched her being taken to the police car, thinking silently, "Goodbye, Emily." By the time I got the call from the hospital, I was gone. "I'm sorry, but he and I have parted ways, and I don't want to have anything more to do with what happened to him. But Emtikes Olivia, the patient has a severe brain injury and urgently needs a family signature. He keeps calling out your name, and the doctor wants me to believe it, so he turns up the microphone." Nathan was crying in pain. His voice echoed in the room. "Olivia, don't go. Give me a chance. I really know I'm wrong. Please, don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have lied to you. I originally thought that I loved Emily. But now, I realize that the one that I couldn't let go of in my heart all along was actually you." What is this? Is it a belated realization? His feelings for Emily have always been sincere. He even considered making a will and leaving all his inheritance to her. He just didn't get around to it. As for his attitude towards me, he was indeed hypocritical and perfunctory. He can see that I'm about to get my hands and feet in trouble with loan sharks, yet he still holds back and refuses to take money to help me. I had long since lost hope in him. Fingers coldly squeezing the phone. In the end, I said again that his business has nothing to do with me. The moment I hung up the phone, I heard an ear-piercing explosion. It was exactly the same as when I was in resuscitation at the time. However, my mood didn't fluctuate in the slightest. On my cell phone was the medical advice Lily had sent me. "Remember to take your meds on time. Things will get better, and you'll eventually be a mom again." I am grateful to God for closing a door and opening a window for me at the same time. Lily was my hope at a low point in my life. She laments that she wasn't able to save me 8 years ago, so she has endured all these years, staying by Emily's side and holding her hand. She's also especially grateful that I took a chance on her and gave her the opportunity to pursue her dreams. I actually wanted to thank her as well. If it wasn't for her help, I wouldn't have been able to get Mom and Dad's ashes back so well, and I wouldn't have been able to get Emily to fall. I smiled and replied with the word good. I wasn't sad at all to leave the place where I had stayed for so long. There were too many bad memories for me here. But in the end, everyone got what they deserved. Nathan became a vegetable due to lack of oxygen and will have to lie in bed like the walking dead for the rest of his life. Emily couldn't accept that she went from being a high and mighty to a prisoner and had a mental breakdown and became unhinged. She spent almost her entire life in prison and mental hospitals. I, on the other hand, took the dreams of my youth and restarted my ideal new life.